All right, fantastic. Well, again, everybody, welcome to tonight's team call for MD Solution. My name is Dr. Andy Feltz. I'm an optometrist up in Columbus, Ohio, where we had sunshine today. So we're excited about that. And we are on Eastern Daylight Time here at 8:30 p.m., where we have this call every Monday night for the MD Solution team, generally hosted by our fearless leader, Dr. Stephen Moore. However, he arrived just recently home from Peru and is tied up right now. So I'm going to take the reins tonight, and with the help of some of our new leaders who are having success, we're just going to talk a little bit about the fly-in, talk a little bit about Peru, talk a little bit about some things that the company is doing, which is very exciting that we learned while we were out in the corporate headquarters in Provo over the weekend. Wes Blatter from HCPN had a nice meeting with Rich Wood and some of the other leaders from corporate. So I got some cool things to share there. So I'd like to start it off by bringing in Dr. Calvin Dalton. So I'm going to unmute you, Calvin. Whoops. There we go.
Am I there?
Yeah, you're there. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
All right. Hey, Calvin. So Calvin and I are both optometrists. We both saw the scanner and appreciated what it could do for our patients. But somewhere along the line, Calvin really started to appreciate what the business opportunity could do for himself and his family. And so, Calvin, I'll let you introduce yourself and then tell us about some of the success you're having in your business. But mostly what I want to hear from you is, this was your second trip out to Utah, and I want to hear what you thought was different about the second trip from the first trip, and was it worth it to go out a second time?
Okay. So yeah, Calvin Dalton. I'm an optometrist in Georgia. Thanks for having me on. Went out to Utah last weekend, kind of to do a refresher on the training, kind of just to re-establish sort of why I was doing this for the patients, things like that. But I also had a couple people scheduled to come out with me. You know, like you had mentioned earlier, we got one person to convert, and she's signing up tonight, getting her scanner. But what I really appreciated about this second meeting was the leadership training. The morning that all the newbies went on the tour, it just kind of gave me a better understanding of the business side, the networking side. Gave me kind of an idea of how we are earning our paychecks instead of just watching those numbers magically appear. And sort of gave me a foundation to build on as far as being a leader for my little group that I have now, that's starting to get bigger. So, you know, bouncing some questions off of the leaders there, definitely way more helpful than I thought it would be for the second time out.
Great. Yeah, so I mean, it's a little bit like a movie where you notice things the second time you do it, but it's a little different than that too, because you're a little different now, right, than you were when you came out the first time. You've got different goals. You've got a different vision for what the business can do for you. So the first time you came out, it was, what can I do to make this work in my practice?
Right.
And now your vision has grown, would you say?
Oh, for sure. And you know, one of my biggest hang-ups got answered. You know, really, since I started trying to really dive into this stuff, I've been struggling with the difference between a representative and an executive. So that really got not just your fault. Like it's verbiage that all of the leaders had been using. And just for those that don't get the inside joke, at this point, just stop using the term executive. It just kind of throws things off.
We're all switching over to the new corporate nomenclature. So some of us that have been on that for a while, you know, it's going to take a while to get our brains switched over. But so just to let everybody know what Calvin was kind of talking about, because I don't think everybody was on the call a couple minutes before 8:30. About 8:15, I got a notification, a message from Tanya Belisov, who was with us out in Utah, and she has decided to order her scanner and is putting in her scanner app as we speak. So let's talk a little bit about how Tanya ended up at the meeting, having not signed up as a distributor yet. Can you walk us through that process a little bit, Calvin?
And so this is actually part of the beauty of having leverage. I don't really know the whole story. I know that one of my downline made a phone call to Pennsylvania, and all of a sudden someone showed up. I will say that Tanya was very, very critical as far as her thinking, which I appreciate. But she had some pretty strong rapid fire questions, and I will say that I'm very, very grateful that we were at the meeting, because as a leader, I will have to confess I'm very much in my infant stage, and she had questions that I did not have answers to. But by using the resource of the group, we were able to get those answers.
Yeah, the collective group was able to spread the objections around amongst them. She's a pretty tough cookie, but very smart, very driven, and I'm pretty excited to have her on the team because she's got a background in the military. She's got a background in corporate America. For a 29-year-old, she has a pretty strong head on her shoulders, so she's going to be a big asset for us. So congratulations on that. Thanks, Calvin. All right, while we're on the topic of the fly-in, which was amazing, by the way, if you have not been yet, you absolutely need to get there. If you've only been once, I think Calvin is just a testimony to why you need to consider going back, because you will learn more than you learned the first time. You will learn things that are different, and you'll be ready to receive different information, or the same information, maybe better. So thanks, Calvin. All right, next I want to bring on my good friend and nearly neighbor, Dr. Lori DiMichelangelo. Dr. D is a dentist in Columbus, Ohio. It's a 3-practice dentist, a 3-location dentist, and this was his first trip out to Provo. And Lori, are you on the line? Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Andy. Can you hear me?
Hey, buddy, how are you?
Hey, good.
Good. So just if you could introduce yourself to the group, because most of the folks here on the line haven't heard from you before, and just give us your background, about your practice and stuff, and your family, and then kind of your impression of your first trip out to the headquarters.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so I'm a general practice dentist here in Columbus, Ohio. Like Andy said, we have 3 locations. We've been doing it for a long time, so we kind of have a dentistry part figured out. The cool part, I think, is I have a son who, this is what makes it a little bit more interesting, is I have a son who is about to graduate dental school. So I kind of looked at this as, kind of dentistry and what we're doing from a different perspective, in that, looking deeply and further down the road than I would have if I didn't have children going into dentistry. So my middle son actually is applying for dental school right now, too. I don't know if I told you that, Andy, but yeah, there's going to be 2 of them, I think.
It's a family affair.
Yeah, tuition, not the yin yang. So this is definitely going to help.
Yeah.
It was great. Andy has been so wonderful, and the mentorship and friendship that even Calvin. I just met Calvin over the weekend, and if you're listening, Calvin, I had a blast. You were so much fun, and it's just really. I consider you a friend now. It was really cool. It was really fun to do that. So, and you helped me a lot in. From where I'm at and where I'm going, you helped me to see that clearly. So, Andy was a wonderful host, but Calvin was really fun too. And so was Tanya. I hung out with Tanya a lot. And, I'm glad she joined in. I bought my scanner or signed up for my scanner on, when was it, Andy? Saturday, I think. So
Friday night, you pulled out your paperwork Friday night.
Yeah,
so
right. Yeah. So she's just a couple of days behind me. So, really, really cool stuff. I'm really so excited about it. It's going to be awesome. Love the opportunity to help people. So it's all good.
Thanks, Lori. What was your favorite part of the tour you took on Friday morning? What did you?
Love the science. The science is so impressive, especially they put it in a really good perspective. Just saying that there aren't any sort of regulations, so no one has to do this stuff, and a lot of companies unfortunately don't. So the amount of time and energy and money they pour into science is, I think, makes me feel so good, because it comes, especially for us in healthcare, gosh darn it, folks want to know what this stuff is, and we kind of should have a should know.
Yep.
And to be able to have a PDR and the science basis they've done, it's really comforting to hear that and see that.
Great. Well, thank you, Laura. We're excited to have you on the team. We know that you're going to be the leader of this movement in the dental community to add, micronutrient supplementation to the periodontal and wellness services that you can provide. So we're excited.
Thanks, Andy. Thanks for not giving up on me.
I'm going to be camping out in your office for a few days, so it's exciting.
Awesome. Can't wait. It's going to be
all right, buddy. Thank you so much, Lori.
Thanks, Andy. See you.
Yep. So Dr. D is a testament to my persistence and him not hanging up on me several times. So Dr. D is a good friend and neighbor, and so we just had this slow conversation that went back and forth, a couple demos with his staff, demos with his kids because they're coming into the business, and then he was reading a passage from Think and Grow Rich, and just texted me out of the blue and said, "Hey, is it too late to go to that Utah trip?" And I'd invited him about 4 times, and I said, "No, I can still get you registered." And away we went, and we did a little roundtable discussion in front of the group, and I asked Lori, coming into the weekend, where were you on a scale of 1 to 10, and as far as wanting to get involved, and where are you now? And he said he was a 5, and coming in, and afterwards he was a 10. So I think that getting your people to that meeting is pretty important. And the next one is going to be April 11th through 13th. So book your tickets now and start inviting into that meeting now. It's the most important thing you can do for your business and the people that you want to have in business with you. So yeah, it helped my business, but it's also going to help Lori be successful. It's going to help Tanya be successful. They've got that foundation now. They've got the belief. They've seen that the company is not fly by night. The facilities, the other people, the other leaders in our group, the science that they've digested now. And even though they need more, it really builds that strong foundation to be ultra successful. And so start inviting. It's very, very important. I've got one more person from Utah that I want to bring on, but he might be slightly delayed. So Aaron Marie, if I could maybe skip gears and we'll come back to Frank later. Aaron just had a new scanner placed, so I want to unmute Aaron. There we go. Aaron, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, great. So Aaron has a great background, special forces in the military. Thank you for serving our country, by the way. Nursing background, also very active in a few associations. And I believe you went out to Utah last month, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And yep, okay. And so you've really just got it started a few weeks ago and just had some success with a scanner placement, and you got a couple others in the hopper right here. So if you don't mind introducing yourself, just give us some background, even though you may have done it before, just so the people that are new know who you are, your background in the military, your background in nursing, and your other activities. And then kind of let's talk a little bit about what you've been doing and where you've had success.
Sure. And I actually have Amanda. She's on our Zoom.
Oh, great. Well, let's hear from her too. I'll unmute her.
Sure.
All right, Amanda, I'm going to unmute you too.
I may even, give her a chance to introduce herself, but
yes, of course. Yeah, introduce yourself first. Tell us a little about success you've had, and then please introduce us to Amanda.
Sure. So my name is Erin Olszewski. I'm a registered nurse. I have my bachelor's degree in science. I was also in the Army Special Operations Command for 8 years. I've been all over the world, and I did a tour in Iraq for 1.5 years. I worked in mainstream nursing for a little over 5 years, and then realized that, our patients were, just getting sicker. We're treating, we're band-aiding their symptoms instead of treating the root cause. So that really made me look out to more the natural health sector. So that's where I am. I was introduced to this scanner, and my jaw dropped because it's awesome. There's just no other, there's nothing else out there like it that can objectively read a person's health. You don't know if your vitamins are working or your supplements are working without it. And it really does it sells itself. So it's really easy to talk about it, because a lot of people that, you know, in my arena, you know, are also really into, you know, natural health. And I really think our entire healthcare environment, even mainstream doctors and, you know, outside, are looking towards, you know, other options, because they want their patients healthy, of course. So it's really neat. It's really, it's been really fun to be learning, and you get to talk about, you know, health. So.
Right, and doctors are interested, I think, more than ever in helping their patients be healthy and prevent disease rather than sick care. I think the doctors are truly interested, but also important is the market wants it. You know, we talk about the market. Well, that's what people's desires are. And if you look at the amount of money that's being spent on supplements, if you look at, you know, what people read on the internet, you know, the public wants this kind of service. They're interested in it, and maybe not everybody, but certainly, you know, quite a few, you know, quite a large percentage of the population, you know, is looking for answers. So we can provide them. So that's great.
I should just add, all right, because like you said, what have I been doing? But this was like really, it took me by surprise. But I was actually on a 3-way with Steve. And I'm like, I had to get my hair done that day. So I'm like, all right, we're going to just have to be talking here, you know? So my hairdresser is like, what was that? So here she wants a scanner. She's going to put it into her salon. We're focusing on the anti-age aspect of it. I'm like, I would have never guessed that, but I mean, it really can fit everywhere. So I thought that was kind of neat. It wouldn't have even like dawned on me to put it into a beauty salon, but that's what people are, you know, we're fighting our aging, you know? So I thought
and aesthetics are, you know, a big cash business. So
yeah. So
an opportunity. That's great, Anne Marie. So who do you have with us tonight? Amanda Kemper? You want to introduce Amanda and tell us about? Oh, nice.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Amanda. How are you?
Hi, good. Glad to be here.
Aaron, why don't you introduce us to Amanda? Tell us a little bit about her, and then Amanda can give us kind of what she's seeing in the scanner program and why she's getting involved.
Yeah, so Amanda and I connected through Facebook because she's really into like the natural health. You know, same as me. I started a group through Facebook to just kind of, you know, gather people that would be interested in something like this. She was one of them, and then we just reached out and we've been talking about it. I don't know, the last few weeks, huh, Amanda? And then she sees it, you know, she sees the value in what it is. And plus I really want her to work with me. So I think it's really important to have like a really strong team where you have the same values. So I thought that was really cool. So I'm excited, but she's also in Utah, and I'm coming to the next meeting, and then she's going to come too.
Well, she better be there, right? It's that close.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm getting home at like 3 a.m. because of a plane I got to take back to Ohio. You need to be there, Amanda.
I will definitely be there. I'm really
excited. So, Amanda, tell us a little bit about yourself. We know you live in Utah, but what city, what's your background, and maybe just a smidgen of what you're excited about.
Yeah, so I live in Eagle Mountain, so I'm just about a half an hour from Provo. I'm a surgical technologist, so I work in the operating room with a whole bunch of different doctors. And, you know, I kind of learned a little bit about this by watching Erin's videos that she has on her group. I've seen some videos with Dr. Moore, and you know, the minute I saw it, I was blown away. I was so excited. I thought, this is the coolest thing ever. And so I got in touch with Erin, and I had a meeting with Erin and Dr. Moore just on the phone, you know, just a 3-way call, and got some more information. And thought, okay, you know, I'll be patient and kind of see how this plays out. I was planning on going to the next meeting, and just kind of casually talking to some of the doctors that I work with, especially the ones that I'm more friends with, just to kind of see you know, how they reacted to this. They were absolutely interested, you know, not just one. I have like 3 of them that are like, wow, I really, really want to know more. So, you know, to see their enthusiasm makes me enthusiastic. So I'm excited to see where this goes. I can't wait to learn more. I wish I could answer more questions, but I mean, I was like born today as far as my knowledge on all this. So I'm excited.
Well, you
to
know what, Amanda? That's a great teaching point in that nobody in this journey needs to know all the answers.
Yeah.
So even Dr. Moore has three-way calls with his upline. I do it still, have three-way calls. I look for answers from either corporate resources or from, the leaders in our group. So you've got an amazing team between Erin Marie and Dr. Moore. What more could you want? So you're going to have plenty of help. And then the fly-in, obviously you've heard from a couple people that have been there now. The symposium in April will help you tremendously. So we look forward to seeing you out there and getting to know you better.
Yeah, good. I'm excited. Good. Yeah, thanks.
All right. Thanks, Amanda. Thanks, Erin Marie. Keep up the good work. All right. Keep rocking and rolling. We need leaders like you guys to rise up. So I'd like to bring in Frank. And let's see if we can find Frank's number here, because I think he's on his phone, 714. There we go. Frank, can you hear me?
I got you.
All right. Frank Ravello is coming to us from Arizona. Frank was at his first fly-in, and kind of in interesting circumstances. So not only is he a great guy, and I made friends with him, but he's got a little bit of a great background. But I also want to talk a little bit about how he got to the fly-in and the circumstances around that. So Frank, if you could just introduce yourself, where you live, background, and then maybe quick synopsis of what you thought of the weekend.
Yep. So I live in Tucson currently. I'm actually born and raised in Southern California. Moved out here a few years ago. My wife got a job in Arizona, and so we decided to come out here. I decided that leaving California wasn't a bad idea. I heard about this thing called saving money, which I was not really very familiar with living in California, but living in Arizona, it's true. It does happen occasionally. So that's where I'm at currently. I'm a medical device rep. I have been since the late 90s, and spent most of my time in orthopedics, with the exception of the last 6 years, which has been in dental. So I work for a dental implant manufacturer currently, and I was very excited to see a handful of dentists there, and realized that the dental market, it typically tends to be a little behind the curve in terms of technology and whatnot, as opposed to, say, some of the medical device companies and that kind of thing. So just from a technology perspective, I'm very excited, because I think it's a kind of a brand new market that can be tapped into. So I'm very excited about that. The meeting this past weekend was great. I mean, obviously I'm not 100% yet, don't know everything there is to know, and I probably never will. But at the same time, I thought it was a great opportunity to get to learn more about the company, about the products, meet some of the people, hear some of the anecdotes, hear some of the stories. And it truly is a great way to not only build enthusiasm, but to learn and to make sure you're doing these things for the right reasons. And I'm confident now that getting involved is the right thing to do. And I'm really excited about the future, and I'm looking forward to meeting more people and learning more and getting out there and banging on doors and doing what I need to do. Great,
Frank. So when you showed up to the headquarters and came into the room there, have you ever met anybody that was there before?
That was there? No, I hadn't met anybody that was there.
So who invited you to come to the meeting?
Dr. Steve Moore.
Yep, and he wasn't there, huh?
Correct. He was in Peru.
Right. So that's a great lesson for everybody that, it's not necessarily feasible for some people to, miss that much work or to travel quite as much to be at every fly-in, but that doesn't mean you have to stop inviting people. So you want to invite into every one of the symposiums, whether you can be there or not, because you might have a Frank Ravello show up and tear the world on fire like Frank is going to do. So the team will take care of your people. Frank and I are cousins, essentially, and I was happy to chat with him and make friends with him, and he invited me to come golfing. So when I get my golf game tightened up, Frank, I want to be good again. Arizona, and
bring it out.
Next winter, when it's horrible here, you'll see me knocking on your door, and we'll go play some golf together. So, all right, thanks.
Come on.
Big things from you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, our last guest speaker tonight will be the incomparable, my sponsor, and the most interesting man in the world, Lawrence Kazan Cassini. Lawrence just returned from the launch of the Peruvian market, and I just need to hear a little bit of his voice. Number one, because it's beautiful, but number two, I want to hear a little bit about his experience and the excitement and how the company handled all the interest down there in Lima, Peru. Lawrence, are you with us?
Yes, sir. Good evening.
Hey. Good evening, Lawrence. Can you give us a little bit of your background for those of us who don't know you? No, I'm just kidding. Go right to the good stuff, man. Go right to the good stuff.
Well, no, I retired a long time ago. I lived in 13 countries. I retired 14 years ago. And I've been doing Pharmanex principally for the last 11, nearly 12 years. And I do this because it is the best thing I've ever done. It's the most fun, and it's something that is very, very rewarding. But so I just want to mention a couple of things. First of all, Andy, thank you for being who you are, the incredible leader that you are. And when we talk about leverage, that's exactly what this is about. I also went to Peru to help one of the people in my downline who happened to be one of the people in Andy's downline. So even though I didn't go to Utah this month, and I go every month, this month I was in Peru working with one of Andy's people, one of the people who lives in Kansas, and she found somebody on LinkedIn who eventually got a whole bunch of people in Peru. So my mission there was to help that person from Kansas who doesn't speak any Spanish and who's never been to Peru. But there we start now with a brand new group of people, brand new team in Peru through a leader in Kansas. So Andy leveraged his time with me, and I leveraged my time with him. So he went to Utah. And so this is where a whole team works and how leverage works. And I'm absolutely honored that this, for the way this team works, with this total harmony and with integrity, and how we have the backing of the company that does most of the work for us. The company has the know-how, we have the know-who. All we got to do is put them together.
That's fantastic. So, Lawrence, tell us a little bit about Peru. What was it like? Did anybody show up? Did the company sell any product, or what happened down there?
I can tell you that I spoke to the president of the company. His name is Tyler Whitehead. I spoke to many of the directors of the company in South America who were there. And in their history of launching countries, they've never had anything like it was in Peru. There were over 9,000 people that registered in 2 days to be distributors for New Skin in Peru. Over 9,000.
Wow.
And it's astounding. I mean, astounding, really, really astounding. And they started with just about 30 products. And the people were everywhere in the lobby of the Westin Hotel. Every little nook and cranny of the hotel, they had people doing demos and using the products and signing people up and so on. And a lot of the leaders had some of their leaders from other countries who, also attended to be able to branch. So it wasn't just Peru, the Peruvian market opened, but it opened with leaders from other countries like Colombia and Mexico and everywhere else as well. So it's phenomenal.
A big South American explosion there.
Yes, absolutely. And this is where I think that it becomes even more exciting when you have a team of people that are in another country. I personally have people in Colombia, Chile, Argentina, Mexico, Italy, and various countries, Costa Rica through Michael Cook. And we have a lot of we have a lot of people in other countries because that's where it leads to eventually if you want to go there. But the United States market is huge.
Yeah. Well, I think if you look at if you were to take a look at any business right now, it's exciting to go to Peru, and I'm so happy that you went there for Katie and really for me. You're just a great giver. But for the people on the line, the market in the United States is super, super strong right now. Yes. And the healthcare market especially, there's a lot of a lot of disposable income right now in America. Wages are going up, unemployment's down, people have money to spend, and there's tons of opportunity right here in our backyard. If you have opportunities to go and launch a market, I think it's awesome, and that you and Stephen did that. Sounds like you guys were pretty well received by corporate. Stephen even spoke from the stage, I think.
Yes.
And Tyler spent some time with your team while you were down there, Lawrence. Is that
Yes,
true?
correct.
Okay.
I just want to mention one thing you mentioned, Andy, and that is, you said that the economy is doing well and wages are up and so on, but also the healthcare industry continues to be in a big bloody mess. And
Right.
we have part of the solution, and there's a tsunami of preventive medicine starting. And thanks to the technology that we have through the scanner and the science, which is, in my opinion, the passport to the future, which is science, technology, innovation, which we have, we can be instrumental in making a huge difference.
Yeah, the patients that come into the doctor's office have a little bit more money in their paycheck, but they're not healthier. And we have a tool to give them that, to open that conduit to better health so they can invest in their health. They have money to invest now. We just need to give them the right product and the right tool, and that's what our scanner program can do for them. So, Lawrence, thank you so much. Again, you're a wonderful human being, and I can't wait to go to Peru with you next time. Right? We're going together? You're going to teach me how to speak a little bit of Spanish? I've been practicing a little.
We can go in May.
Okay, sounds good. All right, thank you, Lawrence. Wonderful job. So I just want to close with a few items that were brought to our attention while we were out in Utah. We're a few minutes over our time allotment, but I just want to get to a couple things real quick. Wes Blatter and Scott Bennett met with the corporate leaders while we were at the fly-in. I kind of ran the meeting on Friday, and they stepped out for a few meetings with corporate, and came back super excited about a couple things. One is this GrowVive joint venture that they've done. They are super invested and super excited about having total control over the plants that they're going to be growing indoor with this technology. No pesticides, no chemicals, clean soil, and that the air quality, and then they're going to use that ingredients to make our products and be able to sell also some other ingredients to other manufacturers, and have such a high profit from it that they're going to be able to invest into this scanner program at an even higher rate. So, the scanner is something that they're going to invest time and money into. The LumiSpa is kind of the hot thing, right? Sold $1 billion worth of LumiSpas in a year or something crazy like that. But they haven't forgotten about the scanner, and they're still going to invest in it. They rearranged some things with the scanner team, and what's really cool is the IT department is about to be run at a first class level. They had a gentleman come in to do some consulting who was previously with Amazon to kind of help them with the ordering process and get their online presence just cleaner and better, and reduce some of those barriers to ordering. And that gentleman has now signed on to lead the department. So he just came on as a consultant at first, but fell in love with the culture of the company. He felt like this was a place like none other that he'd been around, where people actually cared about the people, and has signed on to lead the department. So that's a huge development for us. And then, that's going to, just lead into easier ordering, make our jobs easier, and allow them to then invest into the scanner program at an even higher rate. One other thing I'd encourage everybody to do, if they have not watched the trainings that Tanner Gibb put on and Stephen hosted and posted on the MDS team Facebook page, watch those trainings on the products LifePak, AgeLock Youth, and AgeLock Vitality. We should know those inside and out, because with our Good, Better, Best program that we provide to our doctors, you really get some great information from those, and share those with your clinicians so that they feel comfortable and confident when they're recommending those products, that they are formulated to exactly what is needed for their patients and to a level that is safe and will make the most benefit for their health. Lawrence, you want to say something about that? All right, I'm unmuting you. What you got, Lawrence? Whoops. 1 second. Lawrence, you're muting yourself after I unmute you. Hit it. Don't press anything. Oh,
About
That's
somebody
good.
abducted by aliens.
Okay, now
Well,
I just want to say one quick thing because Steve Moore is actually the leader of all the people on this group. And I just want to tell you that it's a huge satisfaction for all of us able to have our leader, who was actually one of the main presenters on one of the sectors of that whole event in Peru. And there were literally sessions of thousands of people at a time. And so I just want to tell you that for you all to know that we've got a really, really good leadership. And thank you, Steve, for what you did there. Thank you for what you're doing here. Andy, appreciate you too. So thank you guys, everybody. Thank you.
all right. Thanks, Lawrence. Okay, everybody. I'm going to unmute everybody. Thanks for being on the call. We do this again every Monday, 8:30 Eastern